Hello, I'm Christina Troutman from Business Intelligence Consulting Group. Thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar titled Expand the Analytical Capabilities of Essbase with OBIEE. Your presenter today is Chris Dennis. A little about Chris. He is a BICG solution architect, and he's been with us for almost 2 years. He has 12 years of experience with Essbase and OBIEE. A little bit about the flow of today's event. Chris will present, and then we'll have time at the conclusion of our presentation for a brief question and answer session. We encourage you to ask questions, and they can be submitted anytime through the question pane on your control panel. Also, please be sure to stay until the end of our webinar, as we'll be giving away free training tokens to 2 lucky attendees. Without further ado, let's begin today's presentation, and with that, I hand it over to Chris.
Okay, thanks, Christina. My name is Chris Dennis. As Christina said, I am a solution architect with BI Consulting Group, and I've been in the business intelligence and Essbase space for the last 12 years. Over the last couple years, we've seen a real grouping of using more of a better analytical engine. Companies are out there needing to do a lot more forecasting, scenario modeling. You're having much more data that your analysts are needing to go through. And the addition of Hyperion Essbase into the Oracle Business Intelligence Foundation is a great way to start to solve some of the common business problems that our companies are facing today. This seminar is expanding the analytical capabilities of Essbase with OBIEE. We're going to kind of look at it from, I've got an Essbase stack, or I might have an OBIEE stack. I'm looking at getting additional software. Maybe I already have that software in-house, and I want to go ahead and see how to leverage the 2 technologies. So the agenda for today's meeting is the Oracle Business Intelligence Foundation overview. In the past, it's called Oracle Business Intelligence. There's been a lot of components and modules. However, with the latest edition, Oracle Business Intelligence 11G, I've brought a lot of these integration points inside the architecture. We'll then talk about Essbase overview. For those of you who might not have any Essbase experience or might not know what Essbase is, we'll kind of get a little grounding of what multidimensional technologies are. We'll also talk a little bit about OBIEE, the Oracle Business Intelligence product line. And then we'll go ahead and talk about the integration points between Essbase and Oracle Business Intelligence. We'll then kind of take a look at how do I get Essbase into the model, into the Oracle Business Intelligence model. How hard is it? How much work do I have to do? There's actually an import wizard that makes this fairly easy to do. We'll go ahead and take a look at some of the Essbase Business Intelligence Foundation use cases. How do we go about integrating this? What are some of the common everyday business problems we can solve by integrating our Essbase applications into the BI Enterprise solution? Then we'll kind of look at a little bit of a summary of what we talked about today, talk a little bit about who BICG is and what we do. Christina will then provide some late-breaking announcements for BICG, talk about the free training and giveaway, and then we'll follow up with a question and answer session. So what is the Oracle Business Intelligence Foundation? The Oracle Business Intelligence Foundation Suite provides comprehensive and complete capabilities for business intelligence, including enterprise reporting, dashboards, ad hoc analysis, multi-dimensional OLAP, scorecards, predictive analysis on an integrated platform. Now that was a pretty big mouthful and was right off the Oracle's marketing site. So what really is that? What does that do for us? The components of the Oracle Business Intelligence Foundation are Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition, which is the answers and dashboards ad hoc querying capabilities. Oracle Essbase, which used to be Hyperion Essbase. BI Publisher, which is a pixel-perfect reporting or enterprise reporting application. Scorecard application, strategy management applications, and then Essbase Analytic Link, EAL, which used to be the old HyperWorld products. Its ability to spin off cubes pretty fast from products like Hyperion Financial Management. For the purpose of this seminar, we're really going to just focus on Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition 11G and Oracle Essbase. So the Oracle BI Foundation architecture, what does it look like? So we've probably all seen Oracle slides, Oracle demonstrations, which throw out lots of fancy graphics. But I think this is a pretty good demonstration of what their architecture is. So you have this common enterprise information model, which is what the Oracle Business Intelligence Server provides. Its ability to model our data once and deploy everywhere. It allows us to do standard calculations. It allows us to enable hierarchies. It allows us to really provide the information for our users to consume rapidly and efficiently. Part of that common enterprise information model works off the BI server. It also feeds the BI publisher, and it also provides links back into Essbase and HFM. And on the top, we have several different methods of getting our data. One of those being Excel. So if you're a current Essbase shop, Excel is probably your primary mode of getting your data out of your Essbase application, reporting on it, and doing analysis. The problem always comes into is when you have dashboard initiatives, or your CFO or CEO says, well, I really want to have this on a dashboard, briefing book, management book, where my users can kind of come in and pull that data and make sure the data is secure, and they have a nice graphical interface to look at. It's always been somewhat of a process to get that data out of Essbase. There are reporting products for Essbase, such as web analysis, which does provide a graphical interface, but it does limit your capabilities and what kind of user actions you can do, and it also limits the amount of data that you can interact with. Through the Common Enterprise Information Model, since it is an open model, you can pull relational data, you can pull flat files, you can pull OLAP technologies such as Essbase, Oracle OLAP into one area to do all of your reporting from. So I can have a dashboard which has operational metrics coming out of my enterprise warehouse, and I can marry that up with metrics coming out of my Essbase application, which might be hosting the planning and budgeting application or a consolidation application. So this BI server, the Oracle BI Foundation architecture, really pulls all this data from all these different disparate data sources into one-stop reporting shop, which then pushes it out into a nice web-enabled platform for your end users to interact with. So we're going to go ahead and go into the product overview. Earlier I had said we're only going to be focusing on Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition, and we will be looking at the 11G version of this. Then we'll also be taking a look at what exactly is Essbase. So let's talk about Essbase first. Essbase is a multi-dimensional technology. It is a OLAP engine, online analytical processing engine, and really Essbase was designed to solve some of the problems with doing calculations and data manipulation through spreadsheets. It has got excellent query performance. You can go through millions of rows of data really, really quickly, do its aggregation engine. You can enhance BI applications through faster, more efficient calculations. A lot of your enterprise warehouses are starting to look at OLAP technologies to provide a summarization level. It's like an aggregated table on steroids. It's a much faster data retrieval time for those dimensions that you have listed in your application. You can query through vast amounts of data. This is a great tool for data mining. It allows you to go through a 11-dimensional, 12-dimensional model and look at years upon years upon years of data at the speed of thought. Where in typical data warehouse aggregation strategies, some of these queries might take a little bit of time. Fast incremental updates of data sets. We don't have these 4 or 5 hour load blocks that some warehouses do. You can load your data really efficiently. Since you are looking at summarized data in a lot of these cases in your OLAP technologies, you're able to load those data in incremental updates. You can load just the current month, current day, through the different storage types inside of Essbase, such as an ASO model. You can make those data loads very, very fast. One of the things that OLAP engines are designed for and are known for are their advanced analytics. You can do time series analysis, non-additive calculations, financial calculations. And the biggest one that I think is really an enhancement to your enterprise warehouse strategy is the forecasting of what-if models. Most of your enterprise warehouses out there have great actuals. You can look back 10 years. But what about looking forward? What happens if I change a price of a product? What's it going to do to my product mix? Or maybe I'm going to change the distribution of my products in region A or region B. That's always been a problem in the enterprise warehouse. You've had to take that data back offline, put it in Excel, or forecasting application and model that out. So by utilizing an OLAP engine in your BI strategy, it gives you that forecasting what-if models. And by integrating inside the Oracle Business Intelligence Foundation, you can provide that forecasting method, that forecasting what-if model scenarios out onto your dashboard alongside your actuals and kind of dynamically see how a change in product price is going to affect things going out 10 years. You can also go backwards. What happens if I applied it last year? What would have happened? So it's a great addition to your BI application strategy. Since OLAP technologies are self-contained, there are no data joins. Joins take up a lot of time in a lot of your SQL queries out there. The way that these OLAP engines do their aggregations and do their data pulls, it's very, very fast because it's all self-contained in the one unit. And then detail and summary are all stored in the same cube. Now, a little preface that is that most OLAP applications are summarized data. However, you do have a certain degree of detail in an OLAP engine. So Oracle basically has two OLAP offerings. There's the Oracle OLAP, which is the in-database OLAP engine. It's been around for a little while. A lot of clients out there are using the Oracle OLAP. And then there's Essbase. Again, Essbase comes from Hyperion. It's been primarily a financial applications engine. However, it does not have to be a financial applications engine. It can be used for website statistics. It could be used for trend analysis. It could just be for operational metrics, crunching your data mining. But historically, it's always been a financial OLAP engine. And it is a standalone OLAP engine. It does not have to have an Oracle database to utilize the value of Essbase. Both types of OLAP technologies can be modeled to the Business Intelligence Foundation suite. There's a wizard-driven import wizard to be able to pull the Oracle OLAP and the Essbase structures into your RPD file, into your Business BI server. All right, so what exactly is Essbase? Essbase is the industry-leading multidimensional online analytical processing server, providing a rich environment effectively developing custom analytic and enterprise performance management applications and enterprise performance management applications. This is, again, right off of Oracle's website, so it's kind of lengthy, but let's talk about a little bit about what is Essbase really. Essbase is a flexible business model definition. It's got fast speed of thought calculation power. Again, that's one of its primary uses. Go through lots and lots of data in a very quick time frame. It's got a leading Excel interface. As I said a little bit earlier in this webinar, Excel is the primary means for interacting with Essbase, for doing its reporting, doing its analysis, and even for inputting its data into Essbase. It's optimized for fast aggregation data retrievals. It's got an advanced calculation engine which supports over 300 different analytical functions. It's a huge difference between a lot of your Oracle your relational databases out there. It's got built-in analytical functions. It provides forecasting and what-if functionality. It allows you to start looking forward instead of always just looking back. Maybe change the price of a product mix. It has write-back support. So it's not just a reporting tool where we pump data into Essbase, but we also have the ability to add drivers into it. Maybe we're going to change a COLA value. Maybe we're going to change some burden rates. So we have the ability to write data into our Essbase model and then forecast it out to see what kind of changes that's going to do. And then it's also end-user focused. It's one of the primary differences between Oracle OLAP and Essbase. Is that Oracle OLAP is primarily an IT-managed tool set where Essbase really has been developed to be managed by the business. IT's responsibility is to make sure the lights are on, make sure the servers are available, make sure the services are up. But really, it's the business that models the hierarchies. It's the business that loads your data. It's the business that really interacts and manages this Essbase application. And the last point is it's not just for financial metrics. When Hyperion Essbase came out, it was really a replacement for spreadsheets. It was primarily used in a lot of financial applications. But it's an OLAP technology. It's multidimensional technology. It can be used for anything out there. It can be used for data mining, website statistics, trend analysis applications. It really can be used for any kind of data out there, but historically it's been used for financial metrics. So, OBIEE, what is Oracle Business Intelligence overview? The Oracle Business Intelligence Suite Enterprise Edition is a comprehensive suite of enterprise BI products delivering the full range of BI capabilities, including interactive dashboards, full ad hoc, proactive intelligence and alerts, enterprise financial reporting, real-time predictive intelligence, disconnected analytics, and much, much more. Again, that's right off the Oracle's marketing site. But what really is OBIEE? What is this Oracle Business Intelligence? It's really an integrated platform that gives us a simplified business model. It allows us to model all of our dimensionality, model our hierarchies, model our calculations in a central place. It gives us a consistent definition of metrics, measures, and calculations. It's really designed to model once and deploy everywhere. You basically will model your schema once, and then you'll be able to deploy that to as many different business groups as needed with security that's required for that data. It's very open architecture. You can pull just about anything you'd like to pull into the Oracle Business Intelligence environment. As long as you have some kind of connectivity to get to that data, you can pull it in. That's anything from flat files to relational databases to multidimensional databases. It can read XML, it can read web services. So it's really a wide open architecture. Highly scalable. You can scale out this platform to accommodate as many users as you need. It's designed for pervasive intelligence. It's also designed to provide guided analytics. Help your users get to that point, get to that decision point much faster and a lot easier than having to sift through vast amounts of data. A lot of analysts out there do a lot of time data gathering from a lot of different disparate systems, different proprietary solutions out there. What Oracle Business Intelligence does is it pulls it into that simplified business model, that common information model, and provides an easy method for your analyst to pull that data or marry that data up with other applications out there. And then it also has secure data access. The data that you're supposed to see, you will see. In short, it's a BI reporting tool with dashboard and ad hoc querying capabilities. So the two major modules we're going to be looking at in this webinar is Answers. Answers is a powerful ad hoc query and analysis environment that works against the logical view of information from multiple data sources in a pure web environment. Basically, it's just your ad hoc query tool. It's the ability to get to your data. This is where you're going to be building your charts, your tables, your pivot tables. You could have your tickers, your sliders. This is really the environment where you do majority of your report building in. And then dashboards. Dashboards are rich, interactive, pure web dashboards that display personalized information to help guide users in effective decision making. Again, Oracle Business Intelligence 11G has a lot of different capabilities, from pulling multidimensional data to relational data. Has a lot of different display mechanisms that allow it easier for your users to get to that decision quickly. Instead of having to sift through volumes of data, not really kind of knowing what to look for, it helps guide you down that path through graphical objects and exception-based reporting to get to that end answer, or maybe answer that question that might be out there: why are our sales declining? Which region is causing the decline in sales? What product is not selling as much as possible? So through exception-based reporting and dashboards, you can quickly get to that answer as to why your profits are declining. So these two products are pretty much have always kind of been in silos and have been competing technologies. Oracle Business Intelligence is a BI solution. It's primarily operational-based metrics. It's managed by your IT department, designed, developed, and deployed by your IT department. It's not very flexible for change, meaning that if you do need to add a new source, or if you need to add a new column, or maybe you need to change a metric, it usually goes through some kind of change management process to get that change put into place. However, it's very scalable. You know, most BI solutions, you can scale out your hardware and include as many users as you need. So Essbase has primarily been financial metrics. It's been owned by the finance department. CFO has usually been overall responsibility for your Essbase implementations. It's been doing planning and budgeting, forecast applications. It's been doing close consolidations. It does primarily financial metrics. Hence, it's usually owned by the business and managed by the business. IT, in the past few years, hasn't had a lot of interaction with Essbase other than just providing hardware. Essbase, it's designed, developed, and deployed by the business. Again, very little IT, in the past, IT support on that. It's very flexible for change. Since it is managed by the business, there's usually not a lot of change managed behind some of these. So you can add another member, you can come in and you can add another dimension fairly easily depending on your model. So you can change it pretty quickly and pretty fast. However, it's not, in the past, it's not been very scalable. You would basically just increase the resources on your box to help accommodate additional users out there. With the Essbase 11.1.2.1, you have a lot more capability, failover, and clustering capability, so it's gotten a lot more scalable. But in the past, it's not been very scalable. So data, the result of the old product positioning is that data was not shared across silos, so a holistic view of the company performances was never possible. The BI solution contained operational data, Essbase contained financial, applicational data, financial information, and this data sets weren't combined very often. A lot of problems integrating with the Essbase applications and getting that data out and getting that data into your BI solution. So you weren't really able to take a holistic view of that company and match it up with your targets and kind of see how you were doing overall instead of very departmental. So with the new BI Foundation Suite, it's a new product positioning. Environment is managed by IT, content is managed by business. Since both the Common Information Model and Essbase are really kind of designed for more of a business-managed environment, your reporting environment now is self-service. Your dashboards can be self-service. It's really allowing the business to take a more active role in managing their data. They're the ones that are closest to their data. They know their data. So it's natural that the analysts and the business users are able to manage their data. Data crosses old silo lines. Now that we're able to model our multidimensional technologies inside of the BI Foundation, we can now start bringing the Essbase data, multidimensional data, alongside relational data. So we no longer have those silos. Those lines have been broken down. The silos have been broken down. We're now able to combine our data and really start to get a look at how the company overall is doing across all of our metrics in one place. So the solution is scalable and secure. Standardization of definitions to make comparison reporting and company-wide reporting meaningful. We do have that common information model. The beautiful thing about that common information model is the ability to standardize, is to provide what is day sales outstanding, what value is that, and it's the same for everybody, not just on everybody else's different Excel worksheet. They might have a slightly different calculation of how they do it, or departmental version of what day sales is. We now have a standardized meaning. Finance can now be part of the BI solution. There's not a lot of headache anymore trying to get that financial information into your BI environment. It combines best-of-breed technologies for reporting. It takes your Essbase best-of-breed multidimensional technology with your business intelligence best-of-breed OBIEE platform. It provides a platform for true company performance management. Now that we're able to see operational data alongside financial data and report on it out of the same dashboard, same report, we can now truly start to measure our company's performance and start tying into targets and really, start driving our business through performance management and not just reactionary. And it provides increased performance and querying capabilities. Some of the downsides of the Essbase reporting platform is you had Hyperion Reports, which is a kind of like a pixel-perfect reporting platform, but doesn't do a lot of graphical and chart objects. It also doesn't give you a lot of user interaction as far as your charting objects or objects you can play with. You can always select your point of view, but that's just about it. And it's primarily designed to go against your multidimensional data. So if you needed to pull in operational metrics into your report, not going to happen. Also on the same side as Essbase, you had web analysis. Again, it was a graphical interface that allowed you to do your dashboarding, but it was really difficult to get your relational data in, and it only gave you a certain number of objects, and you didn't have a lot of interaction with it. So now by bringing your Essbase data into a true business intelligence platform, you've really got increased reporting and querying capabilities. And the last point on the new product position, it puts the data in the hands of the analysts who know what they're looking for. And a lot of your warehouse solutions, you need to go through requirement sessions trying to figure out what exactly somebody needs to see. And it always fails is that as soon as you deploy, someone's like, I really need to look at it a little bit different way. Now that you can start to model Essbase in there, you can start doing, Essbase cubes, analytical cubes, where you just sucking data out of your warehouse, putting into the Essbase dimensional cube, and allowing your analyst to kind of go off and do his own investigation with his Essbase app. Kind of see where the data is, do the data mining, do the data discovery, and then you can come back and say, okay, now I know how I need to model my data. So it really puts the hands in the analysts who know what they're looking for. All right, so now that we have a little bit of an overview of what Essbase and OBIEE are, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the integration points. So this is, again, off the Oracle website, where we're taking a look at what their integration architecture is. As you can see, we have the Common Enterprise Information Model, which is really powered by the BI server. The BI server is what makes it possible for pulling all of this data in from all these underlying data sources, whether it's relational, flat files, XML, or Essbase. It's really giving us the capability of pulling that in. So Essbase is pulling that data in, and then we're pushing it up into a series of reporting technologies. Ad hoc analysis through reporting, interactive dashboards through the dashboard module, reporting and publishing through BI Publisher. You can do proactive detection and alerts, and of course we can still look at all our data through Microsoft Outlook, Microsoft Office, through their adding capabilities. One of the nice things is, though, we can now start to load Essbase from our enterprise warehouse. We can start to suck data out of our enterprise warehouse and load it into Essbase through the BI server. So it kind of gives us the ability to standardize our metadata. Even though we are kind of building our metadata out in Essbase, we're still be able to pull the standard dimensionality from a single source. So it really, kind of closes the loop on our developmental cycle. We pull the data into Essbase, and Essbase flows that data back into the Common Information Model, since the dimensionality now is standard, and then we have all these reporting technologies sitting on top of it. So what exactly is the OBIEE and Essbase integration? The integration is that Essbase can now be modeled into OBIEE as a data source. It is uniquely modeled in the BI server metadata. It basically takes your dimensionality and treats them as tables. We'll take a look at that a little bit later here. The BI server generates MDX to retrieve data from Essbase. For those of you who are familiar with Essbase, a lot of your calculations are written in the Essbase calc script. However, you can do querying out of Essbase through MDX, and that's what the BI server generates. It generates its MDX on the fly to retrieve its data from Essbase. The BI server does use the Essbase C API, so it does require the Essbase runtime client to be installed on the BI server, on any BI server that's going to be accessing that RPD, and then also on the BI admin tools for any developers who might be modeling that Essbase data. Now that we can model Essbase into the Business Intelligence Foundation, we will now have support for time series, for the evaluate function support, to be able to call some of the underlying Essbase functions that are not natively supported. We have support for substitution variables coming from Essbase. You can leverage those inside of your Business Intelligence Foundation through your answers and through your dashboards. And it does support the ASO and the BSO models, which are the two data storage types for Essbase. One of the drawbacks currently of the Foundation, which should be corrected in the next upcoming releases, is that there is no integration between OBIEE 11G and the EPM workspace. So I can't be in the EPM workspace and call a OBIEE 11G report dashboard directly using single sign-on. And conversely, I can't be in a OBIEE 11G and call an EPM workspace financial application document, financial reporting document. That support is not there. However, in OBIEE 10.134, there is a built-in integration path with EPM workspace. Another huge component that we can talk about the OBIEE Essbase integration is HFM can be modeled in OBIEE. And the way that it gets modeled in OBIEE is as an Essbase cube. It uses Extended Analytics Link to create a HFM real-time cube, and then you can pull that into Essbase. So you can now get HFM data pretty easily into your OBIEE environment. So what does this Essbase integration mean? You take traditional BI data, again, primarily which has been operational type metrics, couple it alongside Essbase data, which has been primarily financial-based type metrics, and the marriage of those two technologies are going to give you true business insight. So integration benefits. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this from kind of two standpoints, for existing OBIEE customers and then for existing Essbase customers. So let's go ahead and talk about the OBIEE customer first. So I'm a customer of Oracle's. I have the Oracle Business Intelligence suite already in place, and I'm looking at maybe pulling in Essbase. What is it going to give me? Well, the first thing it gives you is I can access all data managed by Essbase. So, a lot of your planning and budgeting applications are done in Essbase. That data is now transparent and open to the Business Intelligence Foundation, to the BI server. Essbase data can participate in the Common Information Model. We can model that data and those dimensionality into Oracle Business Intelligence. It gives us a lot of additional aggregation methods. Instead of using materialized view or we're having to build aggregated tables for this, we can always just model this data into Essbase, use the powerful aggregation engine that Essbase provides, and use that as our first level summary. And then it also gives us a what-if scenario and forecasting engine. It gives us a very superb what-if and forecasting engine. It just kind of extends your warehouse into the forward-looking phase instead of just looking in history. So what does it do for the Essbase customer? It's going to be able to provide Essbase data and calculations made available to OBIEE users. So we're going to share all of that data that we're working with in the Essbase environment to the rest of the organization. We're able to now if the department heads are like, where do I stand financially? Where am I in accordance with my budget? How are my actuals to my budget? We now have an easy mechanism to give them that information. We can now deploy that to the Common Information Model through the BI server, and they can go onto the dashboard and they can make their own analysis. They can do their own comparisons, and they can set up a dashboard for themselves, which they log in every morning and see where they are at budget versus actual. So instead of the analyst having to spend time generating the request, we can push that data out to the end users. And again, it gives us a lot of increased reporting visualization tools. It gives us the ability to securely burst our reports, be able to send lots of reports out to department heads with the secure data security enforced. Instead of having to run a briefing book for each department manually, we can now send it through a BI publisher and do it automatically. We also have a much better graphical dashboarding engine to present our data out there. So there are benefits for both the existing OBIEE customers and existing Essbase customers to move up into this Oracle Business Intelligence Foundation suite. So we've talked about Essbase, we've talked about the Oracle Business Intelligence Foundation overview, we've talked about the integration point. Now it's going to be time to kind of take a look at how we're going to model this data into the BI server. How do we get it in? It's going to be difficult. How hard will this be? So it's actually pretty easy. There's import Essbase model into the BI server, import Essbase metadata wizard. So basically we have a comparison of an Essbase administration services outline for a BI sample application. As you can see, we have measures, months, products, customers, employees, marital status, month of year. We then model that through this import wizard, import metadata wizard in OBIEE, and we get a physical representation in our repository for the BI server. As you can see, it comes in BI sample. We have customers, employees, marital status, measures, month, year. So basically we'll pull in those dimensions and they're going to treat them as tables. So how do we do that? How hard is that process? So what you do is you go into the BI administration tool and you go to the import metadata line item and you just select it. It then is going to start the wizard. You're going to have to tell them where your Essbase location is, your connection type. This is not just to be used for Essbase. You can use it for any relational data source. This is how you model your import your physical structures into it. But you would select Essbase, tell where your Essbase server is, provide your credentials, and then it's going to go out and it's going to get a listing of the applications that that user is able to see. So in this case, I want to be able to pull the demo application with the basic database into my Oracle Business Intelligence environment. I do that. It's going to go ahead and create table structures, if you will, relational table structures, a star schema based off of that outline. And that is as easy as it is to get your Essbase application in to the Business Intelligence Suite. It takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes to model to get your physical models in, to get your table structures from your outline into your physical model, and to create your logical layer and your business model mapping layer and create your presentation layer in that repository. All you have to do is just copy the physical layer over into each one of the individual sections of the information model, and then you can start browsing your data from Essbase inside of the Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition. So what are some of the use cases that we're going to take a look at? How will exactly utilizing Essbase in a business intelligence environment make my everyday easier? So what we're going to go ahead and do is take a look at a couple of different solutions. So we're going to take a look at enterprise performance management reporting. That's one of the latest buzzwords out there. How do we take a look at data across our entire organization? So the problem is Company A has an initiative to expose company performance metrics. However, financial data is stored in Essbase and HFM. Operational data is stored in the operational warehouse. These systems don't integrate. The initiative is to show this operational data alongside financial data in a management report that allows users to see their specific data interact with the report objects. Basically, we want like a day in the life of a dashboard. We want our department heads to be able to come in and see how they're doing both operationally and financially. And we don't have to want them to go to multiple locations, multiple applications, and multiple systems to get that done. So the traditional method has always been to task the IT department with creating integration routines to transfer data from financial systems into this warehouse. In the past, this has always been somewhat of a very political tightrope to get that financial data into your operational warehouse due to data security concerns, due to management of that data concerns. And in some cases, it's been somewhat difficult to get it out of their existing financial systems, especially Essbase. The data must be modeled to ensure accuracy and proper comparisons. Make sure that it matches up with the dimensionality that is already in your enterprise data warehouse. And then, of course, you have to create a whole lot of maintenance routines to be created to ensure that this process happens smoothly and accurately. The results of the traditional method is that the data is now stored in multiple locations, and the possibility for the difference between the systems becomes apparent. You know, maybe your data transformation process of taking your data out of Essbase and putting it in your enterprise warehouse and moving it down to the proper granularity has modified the data a little bit. So now you might get in a situation where we walk into that meeting with two separate spreadsheets, each one showing a little bit different numbers, and it's because it's coming from two different sources. The possibility of data discrepancies. As soon as you start sending your data to multiple places through multiple processes, you do run the risk of having data discrepancies. I've been in several clients where I hear, we just don't trust the data's not right, we're not going to use it. And a lot of it becomes because we're having to try and force data out of one system into another system, and we're trying to make it model it into, you know, a standard schema that it might not necessarily fit into. There's always data latency. As soon as we start talking about integration process, we're talking data latency. So if I'm in a planning and budgeting forecasting application, I make some changes, I change some additional drivers. I then want to get those changes into my warehouse so my end users can see that data. I have to run it through the integration routines. Now that can be anywhere from a few minutes up to a day or two, depending on the volume of data that you're pushing. So there's always data latency. It also provides for an increased workload for IT. IT is going to have to manage this. They're going to have to build these routines, and they're going to have to manage these routines. So it's going to increase the IT's workload. And then it's going to reduce the analytic capabilities for analysts due to rules placed on this data. As soon as you take that data out and you try and conform it into a model, an existing enterprise warehouse model, you might be putting limitations, or you may be forcing data down into specific areas just to get it to match the granularity. Sometimes that reduces your analyst analytical capabilities. It provides a picture that is not exactly as it should be, because we've kind of forced some relationships there that might not truly exist. So we take a look at the new technology, the Business Intelligence Foundation Suite. How does that solve it? Well, now that we can model Essbase directly into the Common Information Model, and that we can model HFM into the Common Information Model, we don't really necessarily have to go through all those integrations. We can just federate the data inside of the model and still pull it directly from the source. We actually don't have to transfer data from system to system in order to get it up into our business intelligence platform. So the benefits: data is still independently maintained in the appropriate solution, but being shared in reports. By pulling Essbase data in, there's Essbase security that is applied and can be leveraged through the Business Intelligence Foundation. So you're not going to lose that data security. You know your data is still going to be secure coming out of Essbase or coming out of HFM. Your analyst decision makers will be seeing the most accurate data possible. We're getting rid of that data latency. We're getting rid of that data integration capability, that time that is inherent in any integration process. We're getting rid of that because we're going directly to source. Increased reporting options. Again, primarily your reporting options out of Essbase have been Excel, Hyperion reports, or financial reporting, and web analysis. Those are our three primary methods. Now we have this huge set of analytical tools to provide our data and look at our data. We reduce data latency. Since we are going direct to source, we're getting rid of a lot of data latency that's inherent in those integration processes. And then we're minimizing those maintenance requirements. Since we're not having to manage those ETL processes, those integration processes, IT is not having to spend the time putting forth maintaining and make sure the batch jobs run, making sure the error files are clean, making sure there are no kickouts. They don't have to manage that because we're going directly to source. So the bottom line is it gives IT back more time to do their everly increasing hard job of managing the IT infrastructure, and it's giving the analysts better data, more accurate data, and more timely data, all through the same process. So case study 2, forward-looking analyses. Company has slumping sales, declining profits. The CFO has tasked his analysts to look at ways to improve the bottom line by looking at every possible combination of drivers. Well, that right there should be a huge warning flag for any IT shop. Every possible combination of drivers. You know how long that's going to take to model in a relational world, how long it's going to take to model inside of a data warehouse. That's what multidimensional technology is. I can take a series of 9 dimensions, I can spin them any which way and get any combination of driver through the use of multidimensional technology. So our company has siloed data systems. In order to get data out of the operational drivers, such as number of units sold, the request must be made to IT to get this data extracted and sent to the analyst, and the process can be lengthy and very tedious. So the traditional method of doing this is the IT department is tasked with creating data extractions, or analysts are going directly into the source systems and extracting that data manually and creating these reporting spreadsheets that they use for this forecasting. Basically, they're creating Excel hell for themselves. Analysts then create these massive, overcomplicated Excel workbooks that account for the different drivers that need to be modeled. Basically, they're making multidimensional technology through the use of Essbase. They're creating these complicated forecasting algorithms. They're creating these complicated what-if scenario models, and they're having to feed a lot of this data manually into these spreadsheets. Result of this, massive time delays. You could be talking days. If it's a new model that needs to be developed, it could be a couple months before it's worked out and all the bugs are worked out of it. Analysts spend more time doing data gathering and not enough time analyzing the data. If an analyst was meant to gather data, they should call them data gatherers, not analysts. So we really need to take that data and capability out and move it somewhere else and allow them to do the time doing the proper analysis. Solution is dependent on developing analysts staying with the company. Now, this is the biggest one I've seen. You have these overcomplicated Excel workbooks that work great, that do their job, but if the person who has been running it for the last 10 or 15 years leaves the company, it's a big black hole. There's no change management process behind it, and there's really never any documentation behind it. So the question is who's going to maintain this? How is it maintained? So it really puts a dependency on personnel to provide that kind of information to you. And there's really no standardization of measurement. Day sales outstanding can be defined 4 different ways in 4 different worksheets. So there really no standardization of measurement, which comes down to differing of data and data discrepancy when you walk into a meeting from one department to another. So the new solution is to leverage the BI Foundation Suite along with Essbase right back to provide that forecasting reporting functionality along with data integration. Again, any combination of drivers, it really should speak to you as multidimensional, the ability to slice and dice any which way they think makes sense. The benefits, data is shared but still independently maintained in the appropriate solution. Again, we're not pulling data across the system into this enterprise warehouse. We're leaving it where it belongs. Standardization of calculations. Through the common information model, we're defining things like day sales outstanding. We're pushing those calculations down into Essbase. Ease of data access is simplified. Instead of having our analysts go to 7 or 8 different proprietary systems or ERP systems, we're pulling them right into one environment, Essbase or into the Business Intelligence Foundation Suite to get their data. It makes the data retrieval, the data gathering part of this analysis very simple. IT staff is not inundated with one-off requests. I've walked into a lot of IT departments and they are overloaded, undermanned, understaffed, and they are working 120% of the day. They're working 20-hour days just to keep up with all of these little one-off data requests. Well, let's put the data back in the hand of the analysts and let them do their own analysis by, modeling that data into the Business Intelligence Foundation Suite and leveraging the capabilities of Essbase. It provides the superb what-if scenario models through the use of Essbase. When you're doing your data driver discovery, when you're trying to find out what one little change would help your slumping sales, Essbase is the perfect tool for that kind of calculation with that kind of analysis. And it allows more time for analysts by reducing the time spent on data gathering. Again, they're analysts, they're not data gatherers. Let's put data where it belongs, is into these application systems, and really give the analysts the tools to do their analysis by integrating Essbase into that product mix. We're ability to give these analysts these nicely built and effective what if or scenario driven models. All right, and then our third case, we're going to take a lot of secure report bursting. CFO has tasked analysts to create briefing books and deliver to individual department heads. First thing that kind of jumps out here is, well, I've got security I have to take a look at. I can't be sending the same report to 15 departments with their department's data in it. I can't share departmental data across my financial department heads. So I got to find a way to get this data out to the department heads and then make sure that it's specifically their departmental data that they see. The data is stored in Essbase. CFO wants more of a graphical approach, but also wants to be able to show detail. So with the data being stored in Essbase, our reporting tools are web analysis, financial reporting, and Excel. Traditional approach has always been for analysts to create multiple financial reports or Excel worksheets using financial reporting, and we'll create a briefing book by combining multiple reports into this briefing book. They will then run the briefing book manually per group to distribute it to the individual department heads. Very time-consuming exercise. You can do the same thing via Excel. You just have to do several data pulls into Excel. The results, it's time-intensive. Again, your analyst is spending more time on data prep than actually on analysis. Now spend less time doing their everyday job, which is to analyze this data, and the push methodology of report bursting. So we're basically pushing this data. It's not a self-serve. If Department Head A on the 15th of the month wants to take a look at what he's doing actual to budget, he needs to go to that analyst to make sure that analyst then provide his departmental data in the briefing book. It's not easily something that you can use to run ad hoc, a very manual process. So solution. The BI Foundation Suite has a module called BI Publisher, which is an enterprise reporting application. It's kind of like a pixel-perfect application. It allows you to create the standard template, pull that data in, and then you can secure that data and you can publish that data to many different areas. You can publish the BI Publisher to the Oracle Business Intelligence portal, and so your department heads can now come in, run that data for who they are based on their data security, and now you've got your secure bursting and you've got your data secured. So BI Publisher will provide the secure bursting functionality. Benefits. Report bursting can now be automated using variables and data. It no longer has to have a manual intervention, manual run of the briefing books. The integration of dashboards in BI Publisher can provide an online viewing system that provides summary-level graphical data along with providing access to detailed data. Ease of data access is simplified. Briefing books can be refreshed as needed by going online. I no longer have to send out an Excel spreadsheet or a PDF file to my department head. They can go online and get it themselves. Really takes me out of the report generation business. So, summary slide. Benefits of the BI Foundation. Integrates Essbase information with other enterprise data sources. Big benefit. Integration of enterprise reporting with other BI content, definition of KPIs that leverage data from Essbase and other enterprise sources. We're really now bringing the two sides of the house. We're breaking down those two silos and bringing it into one big reporting building. Rich financial analytics information stored in Essbase, sourced from operational financial analytics and other sources. We're now able to combine our operational data with our financial data. We're able to pull those metrics in and share them across the operational, and we can pull financial metrics and share them in the operational dashboards, and we can pull the operational and show them in financial dashboards. Information and calculations from Essbase applications, but fully accessible through all delivery channels. Again, we're no longer siloing our Essbase environment. Creation of highly formatted enterprise reports from common metadata. We're going to share the metadata information, that common information model semantic layer, across all of our reporting applications. And then creation of Essbase applications using common metadata. This just ensures that we're going to have easier integration process. We're going to be able to federate our data by using the same set of dimensionality. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Christina to talk about some announcements and give out the free training tokens.
Thanks, Chris. Next slide. So a little bit about BI Consulting Group. BI Consulting Group was founded in 2004, and we were recently acquired by Capgemini last month. This is really exciting news. Capgemini is one of the largest SIs in the world, as most of you know. And it's great news for all of you as well, because not only do you realize the value that a boutique services provider like BI Consulting Group can provide, but you also have the expanded expertise of the Capgemini team. So we are very excited to join the Capgemini family. Also, BICG and Capgemini, we are an Oracle Diamond partner. Our average consultant has over 3 years of experience with the OBIEE product. Our consultants have more than 10 years of experience with BI and data warehousing. And we have more than 300 successful Oracle BI projects under our belt. Our company is customer driven, and we are 100% committed to project quality and customer satisfaction. Next slide. So as part of the BICG webinar series, we've just announced a brand new webinar. This webinar will be Tuesday, July 26th, and this is going to be OBIEE and PeopleSoft, a technical perspective. You can feel free to go to our website to register at biconsultinggroup.com and just click on the events or webinars section to go ahead and register for that webinar. Next slide. So thank you all for joining us today. We know your time is valuable, and as a token of our appreciation, 2 free BICG University training tokens will go to Kara Hawk of Valspar Corporation and Preston Crumbake of UMB Financial Corporation. I will send you both an email following this call to let you know how you can retrieve your free training. Now I think we can move on to questions, and with that I will hand it back over to Chris.
All right, thank you, Christina. So we have about 3 minutes, so we're going to go through some of the questions that I have in the question panel. Will BI Publisher replace Hyperion Financial Reporting Studio? That is a great question. And from all the conversations I've had with Oracle, there is no true plan to replace Financial Reporting Studio with BI Publisher. However, they do share a lot of the same functionality. And I think you're going to start to see some of the integrations, the convergence of those two technologies. So in the near future, no, BI Publisher will not replace Hyperion Financial Reporting Studio. But maybe down the road, it possibly could. There really is no Oracle roadmap that has BI Publisher replacing Financial Reporting Studio. A lot of that is how Financial Reporting Studio does its presentation of its data, its grid layouts. It can be accomplished inside of BI Publisher, but it's just a lot easier inside of Financial Reporting Studio. I kept talking to it about Oracle Answers, and somebody asked, is it not analysis in 11G? And it is analysis in 11G. So I've been working with a 10134 product for a long time, 11G fairly new, but Answers has become, the Answers module has become analysis. Let's see here. So what is the main difference between an Essbase cube and a star schema? This is a question that kind of comes up quite a bit. Functionality, in a functional response, I would say not a lot. An Essbase cube really is a star schema. It's got it at its very core. It's got its data value, which is like your measures table, your fact table, and then you got your underlying dimensionality that surrounds that measure. So technically, there's differences. A star schema is in a relational database. Essbase cube is inside of an Essbase multidimensional technology. But theoretically, an Essbase cube really is a star schema. So there's not a lot of differences from a theoretical standpoint behind us. In fact, when I'm teaching Essbase classes out there, and I have a strong SQL staff, or I'm giving it to a group of DBAs, I'll make the comparison that a Essbase cube really is just a star schema on steroids, if you will. Let's see here. All right, we have about 1 more minute for a question. So I got a question here that says, I challenge the assertion that Essbase is managed by business, especially since what may seem to be a very innocuous modification to the outline or calc can result in a massive data destruction. How do you respond? So I kind of laugh at that. I've been there. I've seen that. There are components of Essbase that are more technically sound. A creation of a calc script, making sure you're crossing the intersections properly. I would respond to that with the person who's going to actually be writing your calculations or doing your data loads or doing your cube structure changes are going to be more technical of nature. And in a lot of cases, those people are developers out there, but they're being driven by what the business is telling them. I've worked in several shops where you'll have a financial analyst who's a little technically savvy, who can write these calculation scripts. And with the the addition of Calculation Manager, the graphical interface for providing your calculations, it's a little bit easier to manage by business. On the flip side, when you're in a data warehouse, that's really an IT-driven statue. You're going to have to write your SQL. You're going to have to know how to create tables, create objects. So it is easier to manage the Essbase application, and it is possible for business to manage it, where with a warehouse or relational table structure, it's a lot more difficult. But you definitely kind of hit the nail on the head, is that even though business can manage this, you have to have a more technically sound person who can understand the concepts of multidimensionality and intersections, or else you will easily wipe out your data or create a situation where you're double counting or your data is just not properly calculated. So it does have to have more of a technical nature in there. Last question is, can I use the OBIEE 10134 environment to accomplish the same as the OBIEE 11G? The answer is yes, you can. However, there are some drawbacks. I wouldn't necessarily say that Oracle Business Intelligence 10134 has got the same level of support for integrating Essbase applications as OBIEE 11G. 10134 does not have the capability of utilizing data from HFM. So if you're trying to leverage your Hyperion financial management data inside of your Oracle Business Intelligence environment, you really need to be looking at Oracle Business Intelligence 11. Inside of Oracle Business Intelligence 10134, it has some issues with navigating ragged hierarchies or skip hierarchies. Most Essbase applications, I would probably say 99.5% of all Essbase applications out there utilize skip hierarchies, or actually ragged hierarchies. So you get a problem in doing your ad hoc analysis. If you just wanted to put dashboarding on top of that, it's a little bit easier because you're constraining your user's experience. With the Oracle 11G, they've actually got a lot of enhancements in regards to ragged hierarchy support, skip hierarchy support. So it makes it much more of a feasible solution to integrate your Essbase data and Essbase applications. There's also a lot of 11G enhancements in how it does integrate with Essbase, and how it's going to build that physical model. You no longer, by default, have to use the accounts dimension as your measures dimension. You can use the scenario dimension, and you can provide that hierarchical structure that you have in your accounts dimension to be able to drill down on that. So there's a lot of enhancements in 11G that really make it the prime candidate for integrating your Essbase data and moving forward in a consolidated environment. So with that, we are a couple minutes over, and so I will turn it back over to Christina to finish out the conference. If you do have any questions, as you can see on the screen out here, my email address is out there, chris.dennis@biconsultinggroup.com, and you can always send us information to that email address, or you can call our number, 1-866-953-4757. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you to everyone for joining us today for the webinar. We'll be sending an email follow-up tomorrow that provides a link to the recorded webinar. And of course, if you have any remaining questions, please feel free to address them to Chris, or you can email us at info@biconsultinggroup.com. Thanks again, and have a great day.